Now, turning to our program, please welcome President and CEO of Secure Futures, Brenda Campbell, to introduce our program.
All right. Thank you, President Leslie. I'm so excited about this presentation today. I hope you will be too. We have two dynamo speakers. I get to introduce two today. So first up, we have Hanna Paul, originally from the Appleton area and has been in Milwaukee since 2011. She attended the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee, obtained her bachelor's and master's degree in occupational therapy. Upon graduation, she moved to the San Francisco Bay Area, and after 2 years of clinical practice, she quickly changed careers to the startup world after being hit by the tech bug. She worked for a variety of startups using virtual reality to address chronic pain in product development and clinical research. Virtual reality to address chronic pain. I think this is a future presentation, right? I mean, who else wants to hear about this? I do. She returned to Milwaukee in 2019 and worked in a variety of roles for telehealth startup Vital Health. It was in this role where Hanna was able to develop skills around social media and content management. She now works for an innovation software company, Ideawake, and she consults clients on designing innovation programs for their companies by giving a voice to their employees. Hanna has been a Rotarian since 2022 after graduating from Forward 48. She's passionate about spreading the message about the club, taking her dog Butter on hikes around the surrounding areas, and spreading kindness in her day-to-day life. So if you go on LinkedIn and connect to Hanna, you will see a picture of Butter, and he's adorable. Hanna?
Thank you, Brenda. Good afternoon, Rotarians. Today, I'm excited to talk about the topic of social media. It's not something I do in my day-to-day job, but it's definitely a part of my lifestyle. I grew up with it. It allows me to share about my interests, my passions, and to support my peers and to connect with them. Before I go into some of the ways in which we hope you can help the Rotary Club in furthering their reach, I want to share why this is so important. Almost 4 years ago, after George Floyd was killed, I remember taking a good look in the mirror and asking myself, how am I making a difference in my community? I was really honest with myself, and the answer I found was not enough. So I began my search of finding ways to get involved in the community. I was ready to step off the sidelines and onto the field. I happened upon an ad for the spring 2022 cohort for Forward 48. And for those of you who don't know what Forward 48 is, it's a professional development program that serves the greater Milwaukee area and now greater Wisconsin. It was during this first meeting of the program, where I learned about the Thrive on King project. And I'll never forget the way I felt after hearing about it. And that was a feeling of hope. Hope for the future, hope for Milwaukee, and hope for the world. After graduating from the program, I felt that desire to continue to chase that feeling of hope with a passion in order to pass it on to others. I knocked on a lot of doors. Some didn't open, and some didn't feel like the right fit. That was until I came to my first Rotary meeting with Saj. I remember how welcomed I felt, and so inspired by the civic conversations that were being had between different political parties. Something we don't see enough of in this day and age. It was refreshing. I was amazed at everything being done at the Rotary. I was amazed at everything being done by Rotary Club members in our city and beyond. I knew I landed in the right place and left that first meeting with an overflowing cup of inspiration. Before becoming a Rotarian, I was very close to feeling there wasn't a place for me in this city. And I was ready to leave. I never want someone in Milwaukee to feel that way, especially when they are so ready to help. This is why it is so important for us to spread the word about Rotary so people who are looking for us can find us. And for the ones who care about our city can have hope that an amazing group of people are making a difference until it's their turn to step off the sidelines and onto the field. I'm so grateful for you all, and I want to continue to spread the mission about Rotary and ensure it will be around for future generations, and we cannot do this without you. So with that, I'd love to share an amazing toolkit developed by Aaron and Dave Murphy, who's currently in Mexico having a beer, and how you can help us spread the word that Rotary is the place to be. Let's dive in. So this is our social media toolkit. It will be available on the Rotary website after today. And the purpose of it is to spread the message for enhancing connections between and among members, expanding awareness of what's going on at the Rotary Club of Milwaukee, and building a sense of pride among members. Currently, we have 4 different platforms that we're on: LinkedIn, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. You can see the handles below where you can locate the specific platform accounts. And naturally, LinkedIn is the place where we fit. It's that career development, professional development type of space. And we've had a 30% growth in the last year. It's a natural place to connect with fellow Rotarians, sharing your ideas on thought-provoking programs, and more. You can see here an example from I think this was the Traditions That Connect Us. And it was a post that I did that gained a lot of traction. We had 65 people see that. And it's a way to get a looking glass into what happens here at the club. We also are on Facebook. We had a 10% growth last year. And it is a great place for you to share beyond those professional connections with your friends and family members who you're already connected to on this platform. We have Instagram as well, and it's more of that visual storytelling place, and it's a newer spot for Rotary, so it'll be interesting to see how this one evolves over time. And then YouTube, the place where we house all of our videos for our programs. I can't tell you how many times I've been in a coffee or tea chat with somebody, and I want to share what a full message was that was shared by a Rotarian here. And YouTube's a great place because you don't have to have an account. I can find the program right away, and someone can learn more about what's going on here and conversations in the city. So how to be engaged? There's a lot of different ways. I'm not asking you all to be social media influencers. I'm uncomfortable speaking up here, but I'm trying it because with growth comes discomfort. So I ask everyone to have an open mind that there's ways you can engage without having to post. You can like, you can comment, you can share, you can welcome somebody to the club when you see the new member post. There's often times when I'm in these meetings where I didn't get a chance to welcome somebody, but I can welcome them there for after when we meet here. So mentioning here the types of comments that you can have, the different types of descriptions with your posts. There's some examples here of ones that we've had in the past. And then we've got some great examples from Chris and John Ward from the Urban Hike with the Urban Ecology Center. What's great about these posts is it tags different Rotarians, it tags our club, and then it also reaches that individual's personal network, here with Lindsay's as well from the holiday program. One thing to note is you want to making sure that you tag the right account for this so that the Rotary Club can share it. Erin, Melissa, and Mary do such an amazing job creating content for the club, and the way that you can help amplify the work that they're doing is by tagging them. There's some quick tips here that you can review at a later time. And just going into the role, similar to what I had just said, that the role of Rotary is to introduce Rotarians, to share about the programs that they're doing, and then your role is to help amplify that and further the reach. There's a general policy here, things to think of, making sure that you follow that 4-way test, and then looking at the things that are on the prohibited side, just to keep in mind so we're following those guidelines. We have some more sample posts here of ways that we would love to see your content. Pictures are great. They spread a lot of joy. We've got Done in the Day, and then Daniel Bergen highlighting one of our speakers. We also have some here with a Thai Rotarian tour, and then the Coffee Connector with Mary Bolick. All right, Brenda, ready to pass it back to you.
All right. So you're ready to dig in now. You know where you're going. Such an honor to introduce our next speaker. I'm going to share his bio with you, but I have to say a few words because Wayne Breitbarth came into my life 15 years ago and completely changed everything for me. He is the only board member at Secure Futures to actually serve 2 full rounds of terms. So that's 12 years as a board member. And you know how you have that like small group of people that you go to, you pick up the phone and call. Wayne Breitbarth is my number one call every time. So he means the world to me. So here's his bio. Wayne Breitbarth is the CEO of Power Formula LLC. He's an experienced businessman, speaker, author, and a globally recognized industry leader in LinkedIn training, marketing, and consulting. He has shared his expertise with more than 100,000 business professionals through private business consulting, dynamic presentations to worldwide audiences, in his critically acclaimed book, The Power Formula for LinkedIn Success, now in its 4th edition. He has been featured in Forbes, Wired, American Express Open Forum, and seen on NBC and Fox Business. Wayne works with companies to develop a comprehensive strategy for using LinkedIn to increase sales, raise brand awareness, recruit employees, and reduce recruiting fees, and discover new markets for products and services. He also works with universities, students, staff, alumni, not-for-profit organizations, associations, executive peer advisory groups, and individuals. Wayne's clients include organizations of all sizes, including IBM, Abbott Labs, AFLAC, the American Marketing Association, and Northwestern University. In addition, Wayne continues to follow his passion for helping his Milwaukee neighbors and is the part-time managing director of Kinship Community Food Center. He's a CPA, received an accounting degree from the University of Wisconsin-Whitewater and an MBA from Marquette University, and has received recognition for his public service in the Milwaukee community, where he resides with his wife, also Brenda, of over 45 years. Please join me in welcoming Wayne Breitbarth.
Well, I feel the same way about Brenda. As you all know, if you hung around her, hard to say no, right? And that's my story with her and Secure Futures. One more time on the board. It's only going to be 6 more years. I said, I'm going to check with my other Brenda, my wife, and I got the approval, and we spent another 6 years together. And it was just been a joy working with you. So thanks for those kind words. I look around the audience, and I see so many people that have been in my audiences over the years. I mean, and it's funny because as I was in the line and starting to see folks that I haven't seen for a long time, it's like a confessional. Oh, I'm supposed to do my LinkedIn. I haven't done a thing. Right? Do I look like a priest or what's going on here? Right? There's always this feeling that they have to confess to me that they came to one of my classes and haven't done anything with their LinkedIn. And I think that's sort of typical on social media, right? We already heard sort of like we even had to have almost a prayer around, listen up, we're going to do something here that might be tough for you today. Because it's weird. It's still weird, right? It's still, we didn't grow up on it. And, you know, the quick version of my story, and some of you know, it started when I owned M&M Office Interiors out in Pewaukee. And we were in that recession of 07 and 08. And I remember looking at my partner, Tim, and going, we have to make payroll next week. You got your checkbook out? I mean, it was hard. It was really difficult. And we were at a time where we were trying to grow the business and trying to find different ways to grow the business. Now, I'm an accountant. I'm a CPA. I don't know, many might not known that. So I was there not as the sales guy. Tim, my partner, was the sales guy. But I discovered this LinkedIn thing when a friend of mine finally, after Sunday and Sunday, bothering me after church going, you're not on LinkedIn, you're not on LinkedIn. And I said, Todd, you are so right. I'm not being on your stupid Facebook thing called LinkedIn. And he said, why won't you try it? I said, because it's stupid. I told him that every Sunday. And then one Sunday, he hit me, and I got in my car that night. And here's what he said. He said, you're just an old curmudgeon. And I said, what? He said, yeah, you're an old curmudgeon. I've been trying to help you do something with your business. Keep telling me business stinks. And you don't want to try something new that I think would work for you. That's a definition of an old curmudgeon. So that was the week when I was over in Hayworth. where we sold Hayworth Furniture in Holland, Michigan. I remember I was 2 hours in my hotel room between meetings at Hayworth, and I go, curmudgeon, right, rolling around in my mind. I'm going to try this crazy thing in the privacy of this hotel so I never have to admit it. Because I was serious. I'll try it and it'll be just as stupid as I ever thought. And what I discovered in that hotel room, when I had that aha moment, was when I realized you could find out who your friends knew. Who do your friends know? And then that opened my eyes to, oh my gosh, I know a lot of people in Milwaukee. I love coming to events like this. I love being in the chamber. I love shaking hands and giving hugs. But I don't know who all my friends know. I mean, I could do that with this. And sure enough, there's a way you can do it on LinkedIn. And I said, that's going to be powerful. 90 days after that hotel room experience, we landed a $250,000 furniture order, and the bean counter booked the sale. Right? The bean counter booked the sale, and it had to do with LinkedIn. It had to do with, we looked up the name of a company who was going to do some remodeling, which is always a trigger word for us furniture guys. And we found out that one of our sales guys was a buddy with a doctor in Madison who knew the owner of this company. And we could only see that because LinkedIn shows you relationships and degrees of separation. And we got an appointment with the owner of that company when we would have just been another 10 furniture guys rapping on the door going, I understand you're going to do some remodeling. Can we get in line for some of that furniture? And it would have been, go away, son. 3 people are already in line. We already do business with Steelcase Dealer or whatever. But we got a meeting and we got a nice chunk of that business. And I said, this is for real. And I'm going to start helping people. And that first year I did my trainings. And many of you were at those trainings out at M&M in the conference room. Every Friday I did them. I taught 4,500 people that first year for free. Just because I wanted to get 4,500 people in that showroom. Because somebody's going to go leave and go, LinkedIn guy sells chairs. And that's what we would start getting those calls. I don't know. I thought it was your furniture dealership. My boss saw somebody do a LinkedIn thing and we need some cubicles. I said, yes, it's working. Right? Well, a year later, my wife and I wrote this beautiful book that put me on the market nationally. There were only 5 books at the time. And I tell you a little bit of that background because you're probably maybe still in that space. The space I was in as a naysayer. You just still don't get it. So as I show you just a couple of tips today, and I thought I had 3 hours, Brenda called me, so excited. I want you to speak to the Rotary Club. And I said, oh man, I'll block off the whole afternoon. As you know, I can go the whole afternoon. 15 minutes. Okay, 15 minutes. What's Wayne going to do besides tell one really good story? I already did that. I've got a couple of good tips for you, but what I want you to think about as you leave here today, a couple of things. Number 1, do you really have your strategy figured out? I do consultations probably 6 a week with individuals. This morning it was a guy from Canada. Yesterday I was dealing with students up in Stevens Point. As I do these consultations, I start up and say, why are you on LinkedIn? Usually it's crickets. I see your profile. It sucks. I can't tell why you're on this site. No strategy? Don't be on it, please. Take your profile down if you don't have a strategy to be on the site because you're doing yourself a disservice. Because people will land on your profile and say, she's better than that. I know she is. I met her. Well, that should be, people should come to your profile and be able to say, she's as good as the person I met yesterday, or I'm going to meet her tomorrow and I'll bet you she'll be just that good. Instead, hardly anything on your profiles. So you got to think about why you're doing the crazy thing. And please do me a favor and take it down if you don't have a strategy. Because then everybody will only judge you on the fact that you don't have a profile. LinkedIn's run around 20 years. That's a judgment, but not a judgment of, I think he's better than that. I think her company really does better work than what she's talking about here. Right? It's got to get your passion going. It's got to get, so when I read that, I go, I want to meet her so bad, it's not even funny. And you use the word I. Don't speak in the third person. Speak like I'm talking to you. I'm reading your profile like we're sort of having a cup of coffee before we're having a cup of coffee. Isn't this nice? Write it like that. And don't let your marketing department write it. Any marketing people, I love you. But you speak like you. You tell your funny stuff. You tell your passions much better than your marketing department. So please don't hand that off. Or if you're going to hand it off, work with them. closely so they can get the spelling right, right? So that's my first tip for you. On a general basis, write down a strategy. I'm on LinkedIn because I'm trying to help the Rotary Club. That's a great strategy. That's a wonderful strategy as you get to be like a guy like me who's 66 and going to start phasing out of work at some point, maybe, and help our favorite nonprofits or organizations like this. That's a wonderful strategy. You can build your whole profile around that. It should say, hey, I'd love to take you as a guest. Contact me now. How cool is that? That's a great call to action if you want to use it for something like this. The second thing I would have you think about doing is to think about connecting with people with a strategy also. When you leave here, this is a great follow-up note place, right? Use LinkedIn. Because if you think about, oh, I met a really nice person today at Rotary, I want to make sure that relationship continues. Send a connection request with a really nice note and say, it was my pleasure today to sit next to you at Rotary. So much fun hearing about your kids. I'd be honored to have you join my LinkedIn network. Put that in the note. Catch that. I'd be honored to have you join my LinkedIn network. Didn't your heart just warm up 2 or 3 degrees with that comment? I've been using that every connection request I ever send because it tells people I'm not going to spam you. That's not what this is about. It's honoring. If we're going to be able to help each other, that's going to be how we're going to honor each other. We're going to get together. We're going to build this relationship that should be honoring to both of us. If you don't agree with that, then don't connect with me. It's all good. Okay? So work on get your house in order. Okay? Or take it down. Right? There's nothing wrong with that other than that judgment, but I'd rather have you have that judgment than the judgment that you have a profile and you got 1,000 connections and you go, I don't even know who they are. That's not a strategy, my friends. We're all business people and we do strategy all the time. Okay, I want to show you a couple of things that are new that you might get excited about. I hope you do. First one is this. Fairly new feature, came out for your profile. By the way, free LinkedIn. You don't need premium for this. It's called the featured section. It's this beautiful, hot, eye-catching section that's going to sit very high on your profile where you can put links to website pages. You can put documents, videos, PowerPoints, LinkedIn posts. You can put them in the feature section. Look how good they look, right? So as people are scrolling, they first see your picture. They stop there a little bit and go, that picture's 15 years old. By the way, that's probably the average on LinkedIn, 10 years old. But they scroll down to the next picture they see, and it's the featured section. How do you get the featured section? Right underneath your photo, there's a box that says Add Profile Section. Push that button. Whole bunch of things will pull up that are optional sections that are really pretty cool. One of them is called Featured. And now you can start displaying so people can download some of your sales stuff. You can put a PowerPoint or a link to your website, or you can highlight a post from the Rotary. If you do a post, you can give that post additional life by setting it into your featured section. Really great feature. If you're not going to do it, you should sit down and talk to your salespeople or your fundraisers or whoever's out in the marketplace a lot. They should be using the featured section. It stops people in their track, and they usually click it and read it and see what's going on. Okay, next thing I got for you. Oh, so before I switch to my second tip for the day, I want you to see how Brenda's displayed the membership in Rotary on her profile. This is what I suggest to all of you that are involved in clubs or nonprofits, where you actually take an experience entry below your job and highlight the fact that you're a member. I mean, how good is that, right? So you can use this experience section. It doesn't say jobs. It says experience, which means we can use it for other things. I've had Secure Futures in my experience section the whole time I've known Brenda, and it talks about the programming we do, and it talks about how you can get involved. And that's how you should write this too. In your own words, I'm proud, right? Think about doing that on your profile. You're going to gain a lot of attention for this organization by putting that in your experience section. You can have as many current experiences as you want. And a little tip, if you add that to your profile today, your connections are going to see you have a new experience, and it's being involved in the Rotary. So there's gonna be a push out from LinkedIn for a new experience, and it gets pushed out. Now that's pretty cool. We'd pay for that if LinkedIn would let us. They don't anymore. So use that. Take advantage of that. Look at Brenda's profile and think about what would you like to say about Rotary. So you say, it's important to me, just like my job. Number 2 is my involvement in Rotary. Okay, here's one. Raise your hand if you or your business like referrals, right? You can raise 2 hands if you want, right? Typically when I teach sales training or fundraising on LinkedIn, I ask the question about referrals and it's, hey Wayne, are you stupid? Referrals are the best thing in the world. They're a meeting that's all set up where somebody's going to give me a hug when I don't even know who they are. We're going to get started and there's a good chance I'm going to turn them into a customer or a donor. Referrals are wonderful, right? Especially when you live in a town like Milwaukee where we all know each other and we're willing to tell our friends, hey, you got to meet her. She's really good. This tool is underutilized on LinkedIn. It's the way you can get referrals very efficiently. So all you have to do is you put your cursor in the search box, way at the top one. You hit the return key. All of these bubbles will show up here, people connections. You're going to click people, and then you're going to click all filters. Now that's 4 steps. And why does LinkedIn make one of the best features around 4 steps? Because they want you to be on some premium account, where it's a little easier to do the cool stuff on free, but it's a couple of clicks. That's their number 1 marketing strategy on LinkedIn, by the way, is to take you 80% that aren't paying them a penny, give you a little taste of something nice, and go, yeah, it's Sales Navigator for $100 a month. It's a little easier to do this referral thing. That's fine. I'll keep my $100 and do it this way. So you go people filters, and then in the connections of box, which you may have scrolled back by your whole 10 years on LinkedIn, you put the name of your referral source. Who's that person? Who's that customer that loves you? That you'd love to go up to and say, hey, love working with you. Thanks so much for the past referrals. My wife thanks you too. Got any more for me today? Instead of doing that, why don't you click their name, put the titles you want, the city you want, the industry you want, and up will come the people in their network that meet the search criteria that you laid out. Instead of them saying, referrals, boy, I'd like to help you today, Brenda, but my head's not really in the game, and I forget who you really like, and I don't remember. I got a big network, remember? You bring the names to the person. I think it's the only way we should do referrals now that we have LinkedIn, because you're respecting your referral source and you're saying, you're busy. I know that. You have a lot of cool people I'd probably like to meet. I'm not going to ask you to try to think of who they might be. That's my job. And I'm going to bring you a handful of those names and we're going to talk about them. Do you think I should talk to her? I don't know her. Cool. X. How about these other 4? The other 4, I know them all. Cool. Do you think they'd be interested in LinkedIn consulting or training? No, the first one will never spend a penny on that. X. 3 left. All 3 are good, right, Brenda? Yeah, all 3. The other 3 you should go for, Wayne. Beautiful. Can I use your name, Brenda, when I reach out to her? These people? Of course. And if I get stuck and I don't get a hold of them by using their email or a phone call or LinkedIn, would you mind then if I could get an introduction? Of course. You're taking your friend out of the game that they didn't really want to play, but they love you and they'd love to help you. It's golden. And you know why I know this is golden? I'm closing here with this. I know this is golden because this feature disappeared about 5 years ago when Microsoft bought LinkedIn. This free feature disappeared, which everybody figured you'd have to be on Sales Navigator to do this kind of thing because it is super cool. My phone and email blew up. Wayne, they took away the best feature on LinkedIn. My boss says, and I was getting these emails and phone calls like crazy saying, they can't take this away from me on free LinkedIn. I said, guess what? They can do whatever the heck they want, and they probably did. But that's when I knew that this feature was being used by accountants and attorneys and insurance salesmen and anybody who loved referrals. It came back, thank God. About 5 months later, maybe Microsoft got the memo and knew that we were mad. I'm not so sure that's how it works, but it came back, and now it's back for you to use for free. And the last thing I'll tell you about this feature, it's on here too. This thing's only got not very many filters, but it's got this one. So you can sit in the parking lot and you can do a little short version of this referral search right on your phone as you're in the waiting room waiting to meet with your good friend that's a referral source. Okay, I think I went too long. I apologize for that. It's a blast seeing you all. Hope to see you again. Take care.
Okay, so we're ending our program, well, our talk, with some fun giveaways. I wish I could Oprah you all and say you all get one, but you only have 4 here to give you all. So we're going to be giving out 4 copies of Wayne's book, and I'm going to be drawing them from the attendance basket here. Drum roll. Anybody? Matt Hunter.
Matt Hunter, where's Matt Hunter? All right.
Next, John Frankie. Karen Hong. And our last winner, Elizabeth Draper. The excitement doesn't stop there because we have brand new Rotary mugs. These are for any type of liquid, water, wine, beer. No one knows because they're black. So we're going to be giving these away once a week to the top social media posts. And we have 2 winners this week. Our first winner is going to be Mary Bullock. And our second surprise winner is Brenda Campbell. Thanks, everybody.
Thank you, Wayne and Hannah. We are going to move on to a Q&A section. So if you do have a question for Wayne and Hannah, you can use this microphone here.
Wasn't that good?
Hey, Wayne, always good to see you everywhere we go. Yeah, Brent Taff, Wausau, Milwaukee, small business coach. You mentioned when you do that introduction, you send that connection request, you like to put the message. Very recently, LinkedIn decided that apparently we get too many messages, so they said you only get 10. How do you recommend, if we're utilizing this strategy and we're like, all right, we're going to start up in our game, building our connections, I'm limited to 10. I don't even remember what frequency it is, like a month or a year. I don't even know what they say.
Bummer City. You know, Microsoft's in business to make money. And they did decide, just what Brent said, they decided that they were going to find another way to get more people to move to premium. And it's working. It's only 10 a month. And that's stinky, and I'm not happy about that. And it's probably, if that's a good strategy that works for you, guess what you're going to have to do? It's credit card time. There's really no workaround for it. And they knew that too. So that's the trouble with some of these social media things, everybody. You know, your website and your own email list you're always going to own. And you use these sites to hopefully grow those 2 things that is on your balance sheet. But social media is going to be rented and they're going to change their mind. And it's a bummer. Well, I would just prioritize them with, this guy looks like he'll be the best whatever I'm trying to do, right? You know? That's what I do. Good question, though. Thanks for bringing that up.
I don't know if you can file this in the old curmudgeon file in terms of questions, but I don't know if either of you have advice in just how to manage time in dealing with our capacity to communicate with each other now. I have 3 email accounts, and I need all of them. I'm text message, and I'm assaulted by my children daily with all sorts of information and pictures and everything. And I get up in the morning and go to bed trying to manage those communications. And when I think about adding social media, which I've never really done, maybe it's all in the book here, I'll take a look. It's just, I can't imagine how you find the time to do this sort of thing and to have another source of all sorts of communications that you have to monitor. So if you have any advice on that, you can just give me the page number here.
So it's funny you hold up the book when you talk about that, because in the early days, I used to teach this. I knew that was the problem with me and everybody else. I said, in the back of the book, there's a tear-off page for a 25th hour of the day. And it got a few chuckles, but I know that. I mean, you'll only find the time when you get into it enough that you can see that it gets you results. And that's the hard part, right? It's like the chicken or the egg. You can leverage time usually with some other people, maybe by outsourcing maybe some of the stuff you do, but it's difficult. Now, here's what I would say. To be good at LinkedIn, it's about an hour a week. For some people, that's more than they got, then maybe it's not going to be the greatest platform for you in the world, but it's going to take that, because that inbox on LinkedIn is fast moving, right? It's fast moving. It's not like when we used to get snail mail and go, I can get to that in a couple days. It might have been late. It's in my inbox. Mail, right? So the problem is, until you've seen the results, you don't want to put the time in, but you got to put the time in to see the results. I don't have anything in the back of the book. There isn't that page. I'm sorry. I don't know what else to say.
Thanks, Wade. Do hashtags do much?
So here's the thing. Hashtags are in our second life on LinkedIn, and the rumor has they're going away again. So unlike Instagram, hashtags have not taken off. LinkedIn doesn't know how to manage them or monitor them, or we didn't know how to use them as users, and they're not doing much of anything.
Looking at my LinkedIn post, hey, so we have a business, and I have 10,000 LinkedIn contacts. So I'm very careful about what I post. And your book probably tells the answer to this, but if you start posting, I had a guy that worked for me, and he would post everything. He'd go out for drinks, he'd post it. It became annoying. So how do you balance what gets posted, what doesn't get posted or reposted? Because it seems like you can overdo it.
So do you have a social media policy in your organization, part of that your employee handbook or anything?
No, it's the Wild West at our business.
So I'd start there. I'd start with Googling social media policy. I'm not saying you got to run to an attorney, but at some point you might need that. But at least Google a policy, and then you can enforce that policy with as much teeth as you want. But I think you need to do that because people do represent you on their profile. It's got your company name on it, way at the top. That's reputational. So I think you've got to start with some rules, the rules that you think you can live by. But don't go so far as to say every time you post, I got to review it, because you'll never do that. Be practical. But you could say, after you see some posts that you don't like, say, hey, see what it said? It said we weren't supposed to talk this way or do these things or whatever. You can do that on Facebook if you want, but on LinkedIn, my company name is right next to your name. I'd appreciate you following the policy.
Thank you, Wayne and Hannah.